So you're in the tech world, and you keep hearing about this dream. The one where you're making over $100,000 a year, but freelancing, on your own terms. Is it for real? And if it is, how do you actually do it? Today, we're going to break down that exact path to more money, more freedom, and way more control. Let's dive in.
And look, this isn't just some fairy tale. Take Albert, a freelance data analyst. He literally tripled his income while working 1 day less each week. Think about that. That just goes to show you what's possible when you step outside that traditional 9-to-5 box.
Okay, check out this number, a 5 times increase. This is a real story from a freelancer in Chile. He went from making about $2,200 a month to $11,000. That's not just a raise. That's a life-changing jump that let him save, invest, and finally get ahead. So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the dream itself. Then, we'll bust the huge myths that stop most people in their tracks. After that, we get into the nitty-gritty, how to find clients, and, just as important, how to set your rate. And finally, we'll look ahead at what's coming next for freelancing.
You know, we call it the 100K dream, but pretty much every successful freelancer will tell you the same thing. It's about way more than just the money. It's the freedom to actually pick the projects you care about. It's the flexibility to work when and where you want. It's really about taking back control of your own life and career.
All right, let's get real for a second. We've got to talk about the stuff that holds people back. Because for a lot of us, the idea of freelancing sounds amazing, but it's also, terrifying. So what are these big fears that keep talented people from ever even giving it a shot?
You know what's funny? You can ask a dozen successful freelancers for their #1 piece of advice, and you almost always get this answer. The single biggest mistake people make, they just don't start. It's not a lack of skill that's the problem, it's the fear of the unknown.
And that leads us right into the #1 myth, imposter syndrome. That little voice in your head saying, I'm not good enough. So many of us think we need to be the absolute top expert in the world. But the reality? You just have to know more than your client. If you're better than half the people doing your job, guess what? You have skills that companies will pay for. You're probably ready right now.
Then there's the other big monster. Oh, it's just too risky. But let's be honest with ourselves. How secure is a 9-to-5, really? A company isn't your family. If they need to make cuts, they will. The truth is, having 3 or 4 clients is actually a lot less risky than depending on a single employer for your entire livelihood. Okay, so we've cleared our heads of the myths. You're feeling ready? Let's get down to business. Where in the world do you actually find these high-paying clients?
This is it, right? The golden question. Most people, when they think freelance, they immediately think of places like Fiverr or Upwork. But the really high-paying gigs, the big corporate clients, they're usually not hanging out there.
And this is where so many people go wrong right from the start. You're just not going to find a major bank looking for a top-tier consultant on Fiverr. Upwork, it can be okay for getting your feet wet, but clients there are often looking for a bargain. The serious, high-value projects, they're on LinkedIn. For the big leagues, it's not even a competition.
So, okay, LinkedIn is the spot, but how do you actually use it? It's not just about having a profile that sits there. It's a 3-step playbook. 1, your profile needs to tell a clear story about what you do. 2, you have to explicitly highlight the skills you want to sell. And 3, and this is the secret weapon, you have to engage, add people, post content, talk to recruiters. Why? Because your competition isn't doing it. It's that simple.
All right, we know where to find the clients. Now for the part that makes everyone sweat, pricing. How do you figure out what to charge? You don't want to lowball yourself, but you don't want to scare them away either.
I love this piece of advice because it's so bold. When you're in a negotiation, aim higher than what you actually want. Just give them a crazy number. What's the worst that can happen? They say no and you negotiate down. But you might be shocked when they say yes. It completely reframes the conversation in your favor. Now, of course, you can't just pull that crazy number out of thin air, right? It's got to be an educated, crazy number. So do your homework, reach out to other freelancers on LinkedIn and just ask what they charge. When a recruiter hits you up, just ask them straight up, what's the hourly rate for the project? And hey, if you need a confidence boost, find a local business and offer to do a small project for cheap just to get a win. Get the experience, get the testimonials, and trust me, the big money will come.
Okay,
So we've covered the here and now. Let's zoom out a bit. The world is changing fast, especially with AI. What's coming down the pipe for freelancers in the next few years? And how do you make sure you're ready for it?
Well, here's the big trend you need to be watching. The gig economy isn't a fad. It's on a path to take over. And the reason is simple. Businesses want to be flexible. They don't want to be locked into the high fixed cost of a full-time employee, especially when the economy gets shaky. They'd much rather bring in a skilled freelancer for a specific project. This is a massive opportunity.
Now, this next part might actually surprise you. With AI getting smarter every day, you'd think your deep technical skills are your golden ticket, right? Well, yes and no. As AI automates more of the raw technical work, what becomes even more valuable? Your people skills, your business sense, your ability to understand a client's real problem and communicate a solution.
So really, what this all boils down to is this one simple idea. The freelancers who win in the future won't just be the best coders, they'll be the best translators. They'll be the ones who can bridge that gap between a cool technical solution and an actual pressing business need. That's where the real value is.
So let's bring it all home. We've learned that the #1 mistake is just not starting. We know the biggest opportunities are hiding in plain sight, on platforms your competition is too lazy to use properly. And we know the future is about blending tech skills with business smarts. So the only real question left is the one right there in front of you. What's your next move?